Hi, and welcome back. It is another night working on Kiki. As you can probably see, she is all one colour now. All the priming is done, as per the last video if you saw that. I'm almost at a loss for what to do, because there's no more metalwork, and all I've been doing for the last 11 months has been metalwork, so it's, yeah, feels like a weird little shake-up, but either way, it is progress, and I am excited about it. It's just, yeah, it's going to take a minute to get my head into the not metalwork space. I've been umming and ahhing on what to do next, where to start, because it's not every day I'm doing this, so this is kind of learning as I go. Long story short is we want to do a trial mock-up of the car because we're introducing a lot of new components, so new bumpers, new side skirts, body kit things, there's a new spoiler going on, and we want to do a dry fit up or a mock fit up before we send it to high build primer, so that then we're not scratching everything. Basically, we want to do the kind of grunt work now, bolt everything together, make sure everything fits nice, swage lines are good, make sure we have no issues, so that by the time that's done, we can high build, block high build, and paint, knowing ahead of time that everything is where it needs to be and we're not going to have any issues when we come to fit it up. So what I'm planning to do tonight is bolt on all the bolt on parts that I can, see if there's any issues. I know one of the doors needs some filler work and might need a little bit of straightening out. Our good friend Patrick had a good whack at it. He's also a panel beater and he came to help us out for the day, which was great. So he got the majority of the dent out. I just need to see whether there's any extra little fiddling needs doing. But yeah, so I'm just going to start bolting everything on and getting ready for the next step, which I currently don't know. It's just make it up as we go along. Let's get these bits bolted on. A smarter woman than me would have put these on before the wing. I know. I got excited. of hours. I've kind of not been filming everything because I really just wanted to make sure I could focus on what I'm doing today. But as you can kind of see, Kiki has her front bumper and all that side of things on. So today we have on front bumper, wings, bonnet, both headlights and headlight covers, doors, tailgate, spoiler. All closing items have their latches on so that we know there's no little secrets hiding there. And it's just kind of nice, a bit more official. Everything is shutting how it's supposed to shut. We know there's no issues. And I'm currently working on fitting our new R-Theory diffuser. This is Nathan's doing. It's one thing that he saw that he really, really wanted. When he was doing research into, like, at the start of the build of what he wanted this project to look like when it was finished. An R-Theory diffuser was definitely on the list for him. In order for this to work, I need to do a bumper cut. And I don't know where the bumper needs cutting. So I've had to fit this on. But in order to fit this on, I've had to drop on the rear subframe because it mounts to these two lower subframe sections. And so we have the subframe on here. And I also have, if anyone's worried, a ratchet strap on the front as well, because the idea of putting all that weight in the back and not having any weight in the front was giving me a bit of a twitchy bum. So that ratchet strap is, touch wood, going to do its job. So I don't need to worry about adding all the weight here because, yes, she's on a ramp, but I have seen cars tip and I don't want to do that with this car. So next up is play around with this for a bit, see if I can figure out what height I want to be at and hopefully figure out somewhere along the line where to do the bumper cut. Just chucking the bumper on and this clearly isn't going to work. This is aftermarket, so there's no real, I haven't found any guidance as to where to do the bumper cut. So my thinking is, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I measure from the floor up to here, that then gives me a height guide and I can take this off. I might trim some of the bottom of this off as well because it is sat quite close. So trim the bottom of this off, take this off, put the bumper on, fix it into place, and then measure from the floor up to where I know this sits. Do I know where that... Oh. It does taper down a little bit, so I might leave a little bit of extra on. So maybe cut, say, like here rather than here, so that it can kind of go in and round. Other than that, that's about as far as I have gotten. Side to side, don't know. I suppose I could go off of these bits. Yeah. That's my best guess. That's my best guess. I don't have any cleverer ideas. So we'll try that. Long time no see. It's now 2026. We took a little bit of time off over Christmas just to rest, spend some time with family. It was quite nice just to turn off for a little bit and let the brain do its thing. And something exciting and hopefully beneficial to you as well as me, Santa got me some new mics for Christmas. So I now have two, which means later on I should be able to add Nathan in on some videos as well and he can be mic'd up. Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm recording from the inside of an empty can. So you're welcome. Thank you, Santa. The last clip you saw of me before Christmas, I just about finished the bumper cut. That's looking really good. Hopefully the video is a bit more clear on what I ended up doing. I did choose to fit the exhaust back box as well because I couldn't figure out the height of where the diffuser needed to be without that on. I have to say I'm a fan of the diffuser. I did wonder whether it was maybe a little bit too big, but I think with how big the 326 spoiler is, we can get away with it. It adds a good amount of weight to the back end. Weight is in kind of like beefiness. As with anything and everything car related, if you're doing a project to this scale, or if you have done one before, you'll know what I'm talking about. Not everything goes to plan. There's almost always things that are not quite right. They don't fit how you thought they would. They don't look how you thought they would. And it's why it's so important and necessary that we did this test fit up, because already we had found some issues. So before Christmas, we just threw it together, got everything on the car. I gapped everything up as best I could, and anywhere that didn't work was obviously an issue for me to fix. Now, the main issues we've had, this gap down here, kind of where the bumper meets the bonnet and the bonnet meets the wing, that corner, it was too big on this side, and it's everywhere else gap-wise, I've kind of managed to get quite nice. I have spent some time today fixing that. The front bumper, actually, we have had some issues. We've fiberglassed a new lower lip on, and it clipped on really tight to the original bumper. It doesn't actually sit much further out on these edges, but long story short, we've found it's caused quite a lot of tension to sit in the bumper here, and the primer has cracked in some areas, which again, I'd rather it crack now while we're just doing primer phase than it crack when we're in paint. So we can have a look at that, see if there's anything we can do to fix that. These side skirts are aftermarket and unfortunately did not fit amazingly well. They were about 95% there, fitting wise. We've made some modifications. So right along this top edge, it used to be like a big lip that sat inside under the door. We've made the decision to cut that lip off because it basically closed up the entire lower door gap. And we didn't want it to be a case where if there's any dirt or something sat on that lip, which it's a high traffic area, is very likely, and you're opening the door, if it's scraping, it's going to rub, it's going to leave scratches. If there's grit there, it's going to leave deeper scratches, and it's just going to age really quickly. So we made the decision to cut that. I have also trimmed some edges just to make sure that this fits nice, and they still are, obviously it's fiberglass, they're going to be a little bit wobbly, but they're just slightly more wibbly wobbly than we'd like. So we're going to put some filler in them. The 326 wing is on, and because of where the mounting holes are, we've had to drill holes up through the tailgate, and the bolts that drill through sit right on top of where the rubber is. So I need to find a way to either countersink those bolts or kind of fabricate a little recess section and sit the bolts in underneath. And again, talking about these side skirts, this side unfortunately did arrive damaged. I have got a couple of big cracks that have gone right the way through, and we will need to refiberglass. Oh, we have a new roll bar. We knew we'd have to drill some holes for the new roll cage, but we do actually have to cut out some of the metal on the inside as well. So we need to, when she's back down, offer that up and figure out where we need to cut and do all of that. I have to admit, this phase of the restoration has not been my favorite. I knew it wouldn't be, because it's just, this is the point where stuff goes wrong, and we need stuff to go wrong at this point. I want it to go wrong at this point, because this is best case scenario. If we have an issue, we can fix it now, rather than when she's all built up and painted and then have an issue. So as much as this phase, the restoration is just a bit stinky, it's nearly done. I'm not going to complain too much. And at the end of the day, we are working with like a over 30-year-old car. So the gaps and stuff like that are going to be as good as we can get them, but they're never going to be perfect. They're never going to be closed up like a modern car is. Once these are all done, we can take these off, and then we'll be I'll be handing bits down to Nathan for him to start priming and painting, which is very exciting. Since all the panels are on the car, we'll just take a panel off at a time, deal with one panel at a time. So once the spoiler's had all of its extra bits and bobs done, and I'm happy with how it mounts, I'm going to pass that to Nathan. He can paint that, we'll wrap it up, put it to the side for fit up, and then we'll just do it panel by panel, get back to a bare shell, and then look at getting the shell painted as well. So yeah, for now I'm just going to crack on and keep fixing bits that need fixing. Katie from the future here.
I don't know why I thought I'd be able to film this stage and put it into one video, but I can't, because I've used all the storage space on my phone and the video would be too long anyway. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and this is going to be a two-parter, by the way, if that wasn't obvious.
So, whatever. I don't know.